Gov for testing and vaccination sites. SCDHEC, Healthy People, Healthy Communities. In it together, SC and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council presenting Wellness Wednesday every week on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Agape Counseling and Training Services. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, visit Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. The Comet Bus System, offering free rides to get your COVID vaccine. Don't miss your shot. Visit catchthecomet.gov. Javis Financial Services, with over 20 years of experience. Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. Honest, professional, reliable computer sales and service. Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID from SCDHEC. In it together, SC. The South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities. Agape Counseling and Training Services. The Comet Bus System. Javis Financial Services, Computers Unique, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Hey there, I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's Thursday, and that means it's time for No Justice, No Peace with the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office attorney Byron Gipson joins us to talk about a couple of things: the warrant resolution events earlier this month, the upcoming town hall meeting, and other recent cases, plus your questions. Byron, thank you so much for joining us again today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't forget that if you do have a question or a comment, you can post it and Byron will get to it. And we are going to get to Byron in just a minute. But first, your COVID community updates. A recent survey ranks South Carolina at the bottom of the state's safest for COVID, comparing rates of transmission, positive tests, hospitalizations, and deaths, and the percentage of people vaccinated. The Palmetto State came in 46 out of the 50 states. The safest state in the survey, Massachusetts, and among the worst states, Georgia and Alabama. North Carolina came in number 35. The head of DJJ resigned yesterday. Fitty Pugh's 5-year tenure at the facility was mixed with controversy after several cases of violence among inmates. An employee walkout in June, and state senators giving him a vote of no confidence. Until a replacement is named, Eden Hendricks will serve as acting director. She recently served as the assistant general counsel at the State Department of Administration. And we spoke to Dr. Jane Kelly yesterday. She is the assistant epidemiologist with SCDHEC. She updated us about who should get the COVID booster shot and the vaccine for kids and more.
So right now, the people who are that the FDA has approved for receiving a booster dose are people who are immunocompromised. And by that, I mean people who, for example, have a really weakened immune system because they've had a transplant, maybe a kidney transplant, an organ transplant, and they take powerful immunosuppressants, powerful medications that suppress their immune system. But it also includes people who, for example, have lupus or other autoimmune conditions where they're taking medication that suppress their immune system. And there are some other entities as well. And basically, if you're not certain if you fall in that category, doctor, it is recommended that people who have weak immune systems go ahead and get that third dose of vaccine now, as long as it's been at least 28 days since your second dose. That you don't need to wait until you're at a 6-month or 8-month point. Go ahead and get your vaccine now. Now, what about everybody else?
Right. That was going to be my next question. Yeah.
Well, that's where we are right now, waiting to hear the recommendations from the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, and a group called the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. They are literally meeting today and tomorrow to discuss this very thing. Does everybody need to get a booster? We don't really have the data to say that. I mean, is it really important if you are fully vaccinated, but you have no medical problems and you're young? Is there evidence that you need a booster? Well, not strong evidence at this time, at least that I'm aware of. Perhaps FDA and the ACIP will uncover some other evidence. I'm sure they'll be talking about it. But I know that they'll also be talking about boosters for people who maybe don't get the full benefit out of vaccine because their immune systems are not as great as they used to be. And I'm talking about people age 65 and older, or people who have medical conditions like diabetes that maybe, gives them a little weaker immune system. Now, am I saying rush out now and get your booster? No, I'm saying wait until we hear the recommendations. Why? Because those recommendations are probably going to also include the when. So if you're immunocompromised, the answer is, you probably didn't get a good response to those first 2 doses. So talk to your doctor, get your booster now. But everybody else over 65, medical conditions, let's wait and see what the experts say, because I don't know whether they're going to say a booster will work best given at 6 months or 8 months. That depends on what they find.
Gotcha. So we calling it a booster, but then you call it a third dose. Is it just more of the same, or is it a different formulation?
It is more of the same. It's the exact same vaccine. So I made that distinction because for people who are immunocompromised, I just view that as they need 3 doses, period,
Gotcha.
end of sentence, and they shouldn't wait. Whereas for other people, the idea is to boost your immune system. And, people sometimes take that as meaning, oh, then the vaccine doesn't work. Oh, no. We use boosters all the time. Think about all those pediatric vaccines. Your baby gets a whole series of the same thing over and over again, then finally gets that last booster for lifelong immunity or long-lasting
immunity. And that just builds up your system?
Yes. So it's complicated, when exactly is the best time to do that booster. But it often, you have to let the first couple of doses sort of your immune system mature before you then give them that sneak preview again, that booster shot.
Yeah. So do you get the same booster that you got of the whatever you got, whether you got Moderna, Pfizer, and then now I read this week that J&J now has a booster, a second dose, so to speak.
So let's take these separately.
Okay.
Pfizer is the only one that right now they are looking at booster doses.
Okay.
So and Pfizer, and the reason Pfizer is because they were out of the gate first, right? They were the first vaccine available, so they have more data. They've got more information on vaccine and the effectiveness of boosters specifically to their vaccine. So FDA and ACIP, they're going to be looking at the Pfizer vaccine. But Moderna and J&J, they are doing studies with their vaccines as well. And so you're right. In the news, we're hearing about what about boosters for Moderna? What about boosters for the J&J vaccine? But that's not going to be authorized this week. They are looking at that data right now.
Okay.
So folks out there who have had Moderna or had the J&J, hang on. We're going to hear, I think, that FDA and ACIP will also talk about, what to do for folks like that.
Okay, so for boosters, right now it's just the Pfizer. It is a third dose for those whose immunization systems are compromised. That's it right now. Hold the phone and find out if it becomes authorized for anyone else or one of the other types of boosters.
That's right. And the reason for it is we want to make sure you get the timing right.
Gotcha.
to get the optimal benefit, get the best benefit from the vaccine.
All right. So let's now talk about the vaccine that has been approved for children 5 and older. Which vaccine is this?
So hang on. It has not yet been approved.
Great.
In fact, they haven't even put in their application yet.
Oh, okay.
So there is good news here. The good news is that the Pfizer vaccine has been tested in ages 5 through 11. and has been found, they have reported, Pfizer has reported that their data show very safe, highly effective, about the same symptoms after vaccination as you see in older kids and adolescents. But we haven't seen that data. They have to put it together in an application package and then present it to FDA. They haven't done that. They said that Pfizer has stated that they think they will have that package together by the end of September. And then the ball's in FDA's court. If FDA takes about the same amount of time that they had for older kids, for looking at age 12 through 15, then we could expect they're going to look at that for about 4 to 6 weeks before they make their decision. So it's not a done deal yet, but it sounds good. It sounds like we might have vaccine as early as late October, early November for kids ages 5 through 11. But don't rush out now to try and get your child vaccinated. It's not available yet.
It's not available yet, right. And this would be for 5 through 11-year-olds. Now, will there ever be, or is there any talk of a vaccine for a child younger than 5?
There's definitely work going on that right now. Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, they're all looking at vaccine for even younger children for 6 months through 5 years of age. But I think we're still a ways off from having information on that. That's going to take a while longer.
All right. That is Dr. Jane Kelly, the Assistant State Epidemiologist with SCDHEC. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. Visit scdhec.gov for information about times, dates, and location for COVID tests, vaccines, and flu shots in and around South Carolina. Also, check the bottom of the screen for information throughout the show. Information will be scrolling about several pieces of information regarding COVID, vaccinations, flu shots, and also resources, financial resources that are available, including this one from the VA. The VA is handling all vaccines for anyone that is former military. Please contact the VA, and you can see that information on the screen. Several retail outlets, including Kroger and CVS, are offering the COVID vaccination. COVID vaccinations are also being offered at the CVSs that are located in at Target stores. Also, Brooklyn Baptist Church is offering a COVID vaccine. They are offering a vaccination clinic every single day. You can see that information on the screen. And if you are having some challenges getting to take your COVID vaccination, don't miss your shot. The COVID bus system is offering free rides to get your vaccination. Now, also, if you're having some challenges setting up your COVID vaccination, Get Set Up is offering free assistance, free classes to anyone that is a senior citizen. If you lost someone due to COVID, FEMA is still offering COVID funeral reimbursement funds. You can see that information on the screen. Please contact them. And there are several resources available for rental and bill assistance, including Richland County. You can see that on the screen. Lexington County is also offering bill assistance. SC Housing is offering bill assistance and assistance with your housing. SC Housing is additionally offering frontline workers a home buying program, along with Dominion Energy also offering a COVID assistance. Yesterday, we talked with the folks with the South Carolina Department of Mental Health, among other offices that are really helping people if they are having some challenges coping with COVID. Don't forget that SC Hopes is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week line if you or someone you know is having some challenges coping with COVID. Please contact the SC Hopes line. I'm Tre Tailor, and don't forget you are watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. We are streaming live on Facebook. Please go over to the Tailor Made Production page and hit like and share. Not only will you be able to watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can also watch Fun Day Monday with George Wallace, which happens the first Monday. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button. And we also have a presence on Instagram. I'm Tre Tailor, and like I said, don't forget that streaming at the bottom of the screen throughout the show, you'll see several pieces of information that you will be able to get. Barb Go Army said that wasn't Attorney Byron Gipson. Well, Barb, if you missed the beginning of the show, Attorney Byron Gipson is coming up, and there he is. Dun, 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 dun. It's No Justice, No Fees with Attorney Byron Gipson, and he joins us every month. He's been so gracious to come on every month and talk to us about some great things going on. So, Barb, hopefully you're still watching. We just wanted to get that update with Jane Kelly with the SCDHEC. She is the assistant epidemiologist. Barb says, cool, this assistant epidemiologist for information about your COVID update. So, Byron, thank you again so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Hey, Barb. We're live. I'm here.
Barb, you got a personal hello from the solicitor. Listen, you just had a very successful, I think, warrant resolution event. It was 6 days, 3 days each for for the last couple of weeks. Tell us about that event, when it was, where it was, and what you thought about it.
Sure. This was, we did 2 days. So the 31st of August and the 1st of September. Then we did it again on the 7th and the 8th over at Trinity Baptist Church. And it wasn't actually at the church. It was at their educational center, which is next to it. It's a wonderful facility where we were able to socially distance from one another. We were able to divide it kind of into 3 parts. And so what you had a section of greeters who, so when people came in, they were able to be greeted. They could ask a question as to where to go. The folks were directed inside. So if there was a family court matter, they would hang a left. If there was a general sessions matter, they would just walk on into the room. And my office was in the back with the clerk's office and a couple others, so the paperwork could be processed more expeditiously whenever needed. And so it was an enlightening experience. It was, I say, a cathartic experience, meaning, anytime that you were able to, and you were there, you were able to see just the looks on people's faces, just the fact that they were able to have weights lifted off of their shoulders. It was something that I'm very pleased that we were able to offer, and we will continue to offer this throughout the year and into next year as well.
Well, you mentioned, that it was a transformative, really, event, Byron, for a lot of people. I want to play a clip of one gentleman who actually benefited from the event. This is him. Let's see if we can get him on here. There you go.
So I was getting off work today, and I knew I watched the news this morning and said this is the last day.
Last day, right?
And something told me to come by here.
Can you see? Can you hear him?
So, no, come here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I came here. And I got the news of my life, man. They're gonna help me get my license situated and call it DMV. And it was just like God just telling me to come on in here.
Yeah.
I just stepped out on faith. I wasn't scared. I just had to face my situation. I know I made my bed hard. I had to lay in.
Yeah.
So for the past,
program.
Thank you so much. Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office is doing this, Attorney Byron Gipson, just to try to give some people a chance.
Yes.
Life happens,
Yes.
and sometimes we forget about it. Sometimes we get scared. Tell me what you've been experiencing these 10 years.
Watching over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Not getting a decent night of sleep. Trying to do the right thing, but you got God in your life and you walk with Him, nothing can defeat you.
Yeah.
And I know that. I got a praying mom. I got people that prays for me every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And this is an awesome situation, man. This is.
Yeah. You got your life back.
Yeah, we could
That's a
see
life
that
back.
he
That's your
really
feedback.
was emotional, Byron, about it. And did you see a lot of that those 4 days?
I did. I saw. It was funny when I say that. I don't mean hilarious funny, but it was just interesting to watch. You'd see a lot of people just had a built up mistrust, and I get that. I understand why. I mean, I know there were things that happened. I can't say that our office was involved in this part before, but there were initiatives that were out there where people would come down expecting that something good was going to happen and would be arrested. And so it was important to me as I formulated this idea and worked with some of the folks that we've been working with to be clear that that's not something that we were going to do. So it was kind of cool because you'd see sometimes I can remember there was a gentleman who came in, had to be in his 70s. And he came in and he was looking. You know, he kind of looked around the corner a couple times. He'd already circled the block. And he came in and he looked left, he looked right, he came and he caught eye contact, walked the area one time to make sure that this was not one of those types of events where people were going to be arrested. Then he came back and brought his 50-year-old son in and said, all right, now we're ready to work.
Right.
So, but just to watch, you know, that happen, to watch people bring folks in and then the next day they come back and get something done themselves. And you'd see people on the child support side. And that was really important to me because normally the solicitor's office doesn't interact with family court. The only jurisdiction that our office normally has with family court is with juvenile matters. So once a person turns 18, they're no longer, we don't touch them with family court. We only deal with those, you know, just a small segment of matters on the juvenile side. So here we wanted to engage, you know, the child support system because, like I said before, something that always sticks in my head, and even having been in private practice, but you know, before I became solicitor for 20 plus years, there are people who have bench warrants for child support matters. And so Walter Scott, who died at the hands, like I said before, Michael Slager, was murdered by that police officer down in North Charleston. That started because Mr. Scott had the belief that he had a child support warrant. And so what we saw is so many people, I mean, as I go back through, I think our data showed about 40 people who came through with child support warrants.
Wow. And would that be what is that in the percentage of people who did?
That was about 60% maybe.
Right. So the majority of people.
Yeah, the majority of people, you know, had matters, you know, that were child support related. And so that's 40 doors that aren't getting knocked on, you know, by police. That's 40 people who, if they're stopped or blue lighted at some point in time, don't have to worry about that bench warrant because, you know, if they keep up with the agreement that they made, that bench warrant will be rescinded. They were given a court date to come sometime in October. So if they do their part with, you know, what they said they were going to do, that bench warrant will be rescinded. We had 32 folks on the general sessions side. So a total of 72 people came through, and we were able to help each one of them, and even more who we were able to kind of steer in the right direction. Some we could not directly help, but we could steer them in the right direction so that, and those folks, those general sessions people were able to get their bench warrants rescinded right, just as we said. Nobody got arrested. And, you know, I kept my word. We kept our word. The Richland County Public Defender's Office was spectacular, you know, just helping, being there. You had volunteers from, as you saw, so many different agencies, whether it was the Fatherhood Coalition, whether it was Brother Grimbaugh, who works with prison ministries, whether it was just folks who came out from SC Works, from the probation pardon and parole was there. They were able to help with folks who had probation matters, who did not get arrested when they came in. They were able to get re-noticed as well. And you had other agencies that came as well to help leave information, leave literature. So people walked out of there with some kind of transformative experience that was a positive one.
Yeah. We're talking to attorney Byron Gipson. It's No Justice, No Peace. This is our monthly segment with the attorney Byron Gipson with the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. And we've been talking about the warrant resolution event that happened this month. Byron, when will you do this again? Do you feel like it was a success?
It was absolutely a success. I mean, I said before, if two people came through that door, that's a success because that's two people who no longer have this issue that they have to be concerned about.
Right.
But we had, this first time around, we had 72 people. And so, again, that's 72 people who will not have those issues that they have to worry about going forward. And so we were prepared to do even more. And so, yes, the answer is yes, we're going to do more. We want to help more because there's no question. I've seen the numbers. I know there are hundreds, thousands of people out there who could really use this opportunity. So we're going to do it again before the end of the year, sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas is what I anticipate. And I anticipate us trying to do this quarterly. Now, my advice to folks would be don't wait. Don't wait and say, hey, I'm going to get it on the next go round. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Just get it done. We're not here to play games. We're not doing any of that. We want to do what we can do to give you peace of mind. You will still have that court date that you have to contend with, and whatever's going on, we can work through those things as we get to them, but at least you can get the bench warrant off of you.
Right.
And so I can tell you, family court got over 100 phone calls the next day of people who had waited, and they just kind of were wondering if they could still take advantage of the opportunity. And so just trust me. There were at least, like I said, I believe 1,220 some odd warrants that were out there that we first looked at, even on the family court side. and there are others on the general session side. But with the assistance of family court, who did a yeoman's job with what they did with the public defender's office, Richland County Public Defender's Office, it was an effort where I'm sure that nobody walked out of there, not having been changed for the better in some way, shape, or form, because you saw people's lives changed. That was magical. And I'm not here to sit up here and take credit, for that. I'm just thankful that people next time around, it'll be even bigger.
Yeah, and I think it had to happen. The event obviously had to happen for those people everyone who had a successful experience to then go back out in the community and say, this is on the up and up.
That's right.
You needed street cred.
That's right. That's right. And as you know, as we planned this wasn't something we just came up with and did it the next day. This has been a project in planning that I worked to get some funding for national. We had national organizations who we worked with to drive data so that we could pinpoint the things that we needed to do. And one of the things we did before we even set a date was met with some community stakeholders. And we met with a bunch of people who were able to say, hey, this is important. This is important. These things are important if this type of initiative is going to work. And so I'd like to say to those ladies and gentlemen who were on those calls, thank you, because we took your advice, we listened, and we did our best to institute the things that you said needed to happen so that they would work. And so I hope you'll see that we kept our word. So the next time around when we do this, we'll get the word out. You can continue to bring people in so that they can be assisted with this initiative.
Right. I want to say hi to Elaine Sanders. Elaine, I see your question. I'm actually going to ask that question in the next segment. She has a question, Byron, about the violence that happened at Alvin S. Glenn. I think it was last week, but we're going to get to that question when we talk about some current events, things that are happening. Cynthia Watson has a question. She wants to know, and Cynthia, thank you for watching. Are there any other counties in the state offering this type of initiative? She says, thank you for your compassion to the community.
And Ms. Watson, thank you for that question. I can't say that I've seen any others that are doing it right now, especially the way that we're doing it. I've seen what some folks have phrased as amnesty days, where they'll do certain types of matters, but I'm not seeing anything like what we're doing. I have gotten calls from other circuits, from some of the other 15 other solicitors out there who have said, hey, what are you doing? Let's talk about how you did it. And that's one of the reasons why we're collecting data, so that once we put this in place, once we kind of figure out what does work, what doesn't work, we can tweak the things that work better here or there, then we can share that information so, they can continue so others can put this type of initiative in place. To me, it's not about who gets the credit. It's about helping families. The Fifth Circuit consists of Richland and Kershaw County. So my first initiative is going to be, once we, have our second one here and work out some of the kinks, go over to Kershaw County and do the same thing, because that's my county as well. And folks in Kershaw need to have the same opportunity as folks in Richland County have had.
Right. We're talking to Attorney Byron Gipson with the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office, Richland and Kershaw County. We're talking about the warrant resolution event that happened earlier this month. Byron, there's one more interview of actually two gentlemen that I want to share that had, a life-changing experience.
I went in there and the nice lady in there, she took care of everything for me and everything like that. And she said, I got to go to court and just settle the situation with them.
Right. So were you skeptical coming out here today?
Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie. I've seen stuff on TV where people they bring you here and then everybody come in there and they go out the back door and the daggone what you call it. So I was praying that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. But you came anyway.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the way you look at it, I just want to get this thing passed.
Yeah. And everybody was straight up on the up and up, take care of your situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, good luck to you. God bless. Thank you so much for coming out. What would you say to somebody, either one of you, who,
we lost him, but there he goes. There he is. Oh, I'm sorry. We lost him. Anyway, he was just talking about, his positive experience. And he was another one that was going through family court. The next two gentlemen that we were going to watch, and I'm going to try to get that video back up. Sure. Both of them had child support situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, that was that's what was I'd say what was fun about this situation. I can tell you, I got into a long discussion with the young man. It wasn't one of those two gentlemen. There was another brother who came in, and he had just come down to the family court and had minced words in so many ways, but because he had multiple situations that were out there, and he had words with the staff, and he's like, you know what, he was unhappy. Then they explained to him, this event is going on. It's like, sir, you need to come out here, and he just decided, all right, I'm gonna come out here, and he came out there. Man, he couldn't have been more pleasant. I mean, we understand the COVID protocols, but he wanted to hug the young ladies who were up front, who were helping him, because they worked with him through the situation. And it was wonderful to watch just that transformation that so many went through, because, everybody's got a different type of story. And any of us could be in any of these situations, at any time, but for the grace of God. And so whether it's child support, whether it's general sessions, if there's an issue that you have, solicitors' offices have, just part of our job is, we're district attorneys. And so part of our job, does require us to, to advocate and sometimes send people to jail. But, the overarching thing that our job is to do justice. That's the bottom line. And that's part of the oath that we take, to do justice, to be ministers of justice in the administration of criminal matters in Richland and Kershaw County. And so this, to me, is the administration of justice, helping people when we can help them, meeting them where they are. Right. And giving them an opportunity, and especially in this climate when we know with some of the fear, some of the trepidation that people have with law enforcement and police, if we can find ways to meet them, to put them in a place where they don't have to have these stops, or they can have fewer engagements with law enforcement, it can be a beneficial thing for both parties. Yes, there needs to be so much more done on training of police and community policing and so many other initiatives that I know that the City of Columbia and I know that the Chair Flatter are putting in place. There's so many things that can be done there, but this is something I can do. Right. And this is something we will do, and we'll continue to do it, and continue to meet people where they are, with the hope that we can, coast through some of these bench warrants and give people an opportunity to get back on schedule and get some of these matters behind them.
I'm Tre Tailor, and we're talking to Attorney Byron Gipson. This is No Justice, No Peace, his monthly segment here on Coping with COVID, where he talks about issues that have to do with the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office in Richland and Kershaw County. Our internet got disconnected about when we were listening to this interview with two gentlemen that were actually at the event. Byron, if you don't mind, I want to bring both of those interviews back up so that we can just hear a little bit of what these gentlemen had to say.
Yeah. What you call it? I was praying that would happen.
Yeah. But you came anyway.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the way you look at it, I think I get this thing passed.
Yeah. And everybody was straight up on the up and up, take care of your situation. Well, good luck to you. God bless. Thank you so much for coming out. What would you say to somebody, either one of you, who, because listen, we all do some things. We all got a pass. And like you didn't even know this had happened. But, what do you say to someone who may have something over their shoulder and they're afraid to get it taken care of? Face it.
That's it. You do run through.
Yeah.
Run through. Always face it.
Right.
I agree with him totally.
Yeah.
I mean, you just gotta sometimes just tell you what you gotta pay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And once you do that, it will be fine.
Yeah. What was your situation, sir? Thank you.
Arrears child.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So
I have a wonderful family. Everyone turned out great, so
you
just need to handle the arrears, the back pay.
and did you know that you were in arrears?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. I've been having a few problems.
Yeah.
But it's working out.
Right.
And the people inside are great.
So you came out here and you talked to somebody and you're walking out.
I'm walking out. I thought I was going to jail, but I'm walking out.
Yeah. I think the great thing about it is I'm sure you were skeptical because you said you thought you were going to jail. Why did you come anyway?
Because I need to get it handled.
Yeah.
One way or the other. You have to face whatever it is to face.
Yeah.
You can't run from it.
All right. He said you can't run from it. He said you got to face what you face, Byron. He said he thought he was going to jail that day.
That's right. And like I said, we saw a few people circling the block, on each first day, because the second go round was the day after Labor Day. And so you saw people circling around the block a little bit. And that Tuesday actually was kind of slow. That was the day we only had 7, folks that came through the doors that day. And so, in a way, you're kind of slightly discouraged, saying, hey, you know what, I wonder if maybe the message isn't getting out. But the next day we had, almost 5 times that number of people that came through. And so, again, it's necessary. It's something that we will continue to do as we do our second round. Of course, you and I will be communicating. We'll let you know. We'll talk about specifically what we're doing. And we hope to expand a little bit because we took data, so we have an idea of what people were looking for,
right?
What seems to work, and we're getting an idea of what can work better at different times. And so we're going to take that information and just kind of, wrap our heads around it so that we can provide services to the most people as possible that are going to speak to what people need when they need them. And so we'll let you know the scope of everything that we're going to be doing the next time around, where it's going to be all of those types of things. So I'm excited for that next opportunity to have a round 2 of this initiative.
Well, when we come back, we will talk to Attorney Gipson about how the next warrant resolution event will be different. We'll talk also about some upcoming events his office has planned and some ongoing initiatives they have. And of course, your questions. Coming up next on No Justice, No Peace with the 5th Circuit Solicitors Office on No Justice, No Peace. You're watching Coping with COVID.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Imagine yourself 1 year from now. You've tackled your prediabetes, you're eating well, staying active, and reducing stress. You've even made a few new friends, all because you took charge of your health and lowered your risk of type 2 diabetes. It's possible when you join In It Together SC. You can start by taking our online risk assessment. Find a coach to help you with real-life solutions. This can be you, and it can all start today. Find an online or in-person program. Visit InItTogetherSC.org to get a healthier head start on your future. Brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina.
Hey there, you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you so much for watching us. We are actually streaming live on the TailorMade production page. Please go over there, hit like and follow and share. And not only can you watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and first Monday, Fun Day Monday with George Wallace, you can also get all of your COVID-related updates. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button. And we're also streaming live on the 5th Circuit Solicitors Office Facebook page. So please, please, please like and follow that page so you can get all of the updates on this important office. We are talking to Attorney Byron Gipson. He is the solicitor, 5th Circuit Solicitor, Richland and of Kershaw County. We were talking in the last hour about, in the last 30 minutes, about the warrant resolution event that they had. Please continue to post and share so we can get this information to the masses. It was very successful, Byron. We even heard from a couple of people that had very positive outcomes. From what you learned from the feedback, whether it be written or verbal. What will be different about the next ones?
We're working now to include. Before, I was mostly concerned with general sessions matters because that's what our office handles. Aside from we have. There's some magistrate court matters that we do handle, domestic violence and driving under the influence matters. But by and large, what we handle are general sessions matters that are, felonies, which are crimes that essentially can have a penalty of a year or more, a fine of $1,000 or more. That's generally what you're going to see handled in solicitors' offices. So here, partnering a little bit more with magistrates' courts. Our county magistrates, because there are a lot of situations where you have, again, something similar to a bench warrant, a failure to appear, an FTA. Somebody may have had a trial in their absence because they didn't show for their court date. Those are matters out there too where people can be arrested. And so those were not specific matters that we were handling, but to have people on site who can work on those matters can be something that can be beneficial and important as well as the city of Columbia. Just having talked to the city judge, the chief city judge, Judge Mangum, and they've had what they term theirs as an amnesty program. It's different than ours, but to have them on site as well, they had about a month of matters where they granted some type of amnesty and fine resolution that they did earlier in the year, but to bring them on board as well, so that, if people have something in Richland County, whether it's magistrate, city of Columbia, or if it's general sessions, we're kind of all under one umbrella. And so I think that could be beneficial, just so it'll be a one-stop shop for whatever the matter is, in helping get those matters resolved.
Awesome. Now, what else are you working on? I know you've got some upcoming projects, another town hall.
That's correct. We have another town hall. We had scheduled it earlier this month, but because of the mayoral debates, we just didn't want to have conflicting events because people need to be dialed in to learn what's going on in the city.
Yeah.
Who their next mayor will be, and so we just did not want to bump heads with any of those initiatives because if people are politically motivated, they need to know, they need to listen and have their voice heard through their vote. And so we didn't want to conflict with that. So that being said, we moved our event to October 12th. It will be at the, I got to get the phraseology correct on this, but it's going to be over at the Garner's Ferry Adult Center. Well, I'll get the address of that, and we'll talk about it more later. But it'll be an initiative again, no justice, no peace. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the issues with gun violence. We're going to talk about just some of the initiatives that have been put through by some of our state representatives. I mean, Jermaine Johnson is one who's been very active, and just others who represent constituents here in the Fifth Circuit. And so to talk a little bit more about some of those initiatives. ATF, the sheriffs will be available as well. And we're just going to talk, some real talk about, what some of the issues are, what some of the possible solutions could be, and also next steps and legislation, just so people can see kind of steps through and ways that we can learn a little bit about what's going on, what the problem is. We're not just always talking about what the problem is, but let's talk about solutions, work toward solutions, and have people in the room who are making decisions about these things,
right.
Who are elected officials who can move the meter. So we just want to take things in a different direction where we're not just talking and expressing our angst or concern, but talking to people who can make a difference, and then those people can go out and can go forth and do what needs to be done on behalf of their constituents. Right,
and that's going to be October 12th at the Garner's Ferry Recreation Center, or whatever it's called. Right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. Will there be a particular focus? I know you mentioned that Jermaine Johnson will be there and will be involved. Will there be a main focus of the conversation this time?
He will be, and there are other electeds, Wendy Brawley and some others have just talked a good bit about some of the just the violence issues. They don't just affect one area of Columbia. Right. It affects us all. But they started an initiative earlier in the year. I guess that's my word of the day. It's probably the fifth time I've said it. But they had a meeting at one of the sheriff's substations over by Lower Richland High School that was standing room only because some unfortunate things took place out there, and they wanted to get out in front of it and start talking about it and start seeing what could happen to make community safer. It's the same conversation that we've had in several other communities here in Columbia. This time we're just going to be holding our conversation out there. And so, like I mentioned before, a few months ago when we first started talking, no justice, no peace. These community forum, these listening sessions that we're having are going to go all the way around the Fifth Circuit. They're going to go all the way around Columbia. So it's not just going to be at one location. The first time was at Busby Street. Here we'll be, we'll be at the Garners Ferry Center this time. Next time around, we'll move it around. And so we'll be in different areas and different, and there'll be a different topic. But each one will be informative, and it will have people in the room who are making the decisions.
Awesome. We're talking to Attorney Byron Gipson with the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office. This is a monthly session on coping with COVID, no justice, no peace. Sanders Elaine had a question. She said she's a former officer, Byron, and wants to know that she hopes that the solicitor, your office, will prosecute those that did harm to the officers at Alvin S. Glenn to the highest stature in that she said the General Assembly Court, but then she corrected it and said General Sessions.
Right.
Thank you for your question. Bye.
Well, thank you. And as you know, this is not sidestepping issues. It's just anytime that there's an open investigation, a case that has not worked its way through the courts, our rules of ethics prevent me from really commenting too much on the facts, other than just, some basic facts when the case is going to be heard, things of that nature. But I understand there was a matter at Alvin S. Glenn. We're fully aware of that. And those matters are in our office, and we're giving it our due attention.
All right. Thank you so much, Sanders Elaine, for your question. Another hot topic that happened just a few weeks ago, Byron, is the tragic death of the twin boys that were found in their dad's, we know now, the dad's backseat of his car. And he didn't know, that they had been there all day. And of course, like I said, they passed away. And that particular case, as we heard our coroner and Sheriff Leon Lott said that, they found that the gentleman, the dad, was not charged in the case. Comments?
Yeah, I mean, my comment is first and foremost. I mean, this is tragic. I mean, it's a parent's worst nightmare. And so what I can tell you is the Richland County Sheriff's Department did a thorough investigation looking at all the ends. They met with everybody involved, any footage that was there. They met with witnesses. They met with everybody involved. And after looking at those things, I think people still kind of get confused about what our role is in these situations. When I say our role, I mean the solicitor. We don't charge people in my office. All right. The Sheriff's Department, law enforcement, makes the charges. We can look at a factual scenario. We can look at witnesses. We can look at the information after an investigation is done. And after we look at that, we can offer advice as to what the law is or isn't, and whether or not there's probable cause to move forward, and if there's criminal intent, which in this case, we offered our advice after going through everything that all of the investigation, and after receiving our advice, the Sheriff's Department looked at its investigation and they determined that they were not going to charge in this case. Again, this is tragic. I'm sure that this matter's been going to be has changed this family irreparably, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it's just for life. And my thoughts, my prayers, condolences, all of those things, cannot be enough for what they're going through every day.
Yeah.
And what they will go through for the rest of their lives, but they will be with them, because this is in many stages as tragic as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking to Attorney Byron Gipson with the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. This is his monthly segment on coping with COVID, no justice, no peace. What other services do your office offer, Byron?
We offer, in terms of services, I think the one that probably moves the meter the most is our expungement department. And when it comes to expungements, and I'm glad you just pulled that website with that ugly dude on the front. The expungements tend to move the meter because those are often magistrate level, meaning misdemeanor type matters that somebody may have, stubbed their toe. They could have been, 20 years old. I mean, I've had situations, even when I was in private practice, somebody may have shoplifted or written a series of bad checks when they were in college, or maybe they got into a dust up or a fight at a football game, or just something that happened. And oftentimes, maybe they had a simple possession of marijuana situation, just something that was a relatively minor situation. And oftentimes, college students will say, you know what, I don't want my mother or father to find out about this. They're going to wear me out when they find out. So they just go ahead and handle it. They pay the fine. They do whatever needs to be done just to get it over with. But it stays on their record. And sometimes they forget about it because it was so minor. But 10 years later, 15 years later, even sometimes 20 years later, it pops up on their record. And or it's there. And they may not have realized that, hey, this may have been encumbering them from doing some things that they wanted to do. But expungements allow certain types of matters to be cleaned off of a person's record. And so if you have some of those minor type situations that took place, it benefits you to give our office a call. Norman Jackson Jr. is there, spectacular at what he does. He's taught expungement seminars. He is that gifted and knowledgeable about the process. We have an affiliated services department, and that's where Norman is housed, in that department. And so those guys are good at what, and I say guys and girls, those people are good at what they do. And so if you let them know what the situation is, they can advise you on how the process works. And if there's a place where we can help you, there is a fee for it. They'll explain to you what that is. And sometimes it's actually free. Right. And if there are services also where there are grants that some groups have gotten where they're willing to pay for expungements and under some circumstances, how about reach out and we'll let you, and we'll let you know if you qualify, what qualifies on your record, and they'll tell you what needs to take place, and we'll work towards making that happen. If you qualify, we'll figure it out. We'll work it out.
Wow. So Byron, and I'm just asking, do most things don't just drop off your record? They stay on your record, or does it depend on what it is?
Things do not drop off. They just don't go away. I mean, the case, and it's to the point even magistrates have been a lot better about this, over the last, 10 years or so. But there are situations where people are charged with, it could have been like I said, a fight in college. It could be something you may be found not guilty. And if an expungement wasn't done subsequent to the verdict, it's still there that you had an arrest.
Wow.
And so, what I started to see in private practice is when the rules started to change on expungements back in the late probably early 2010s, 11, somewhere around in there. A lot of magistrates would have that information right there. And if you were found not guilty, they'd fill it out, sign it, and so they could start the process. But there are times when that was not done. And I'm not blaming anybody, not saying there's any fault to it. But if there was a situation that you had, it really benefits you to just kind of peek and see if there's something on your record, that shouldn't be there. Number one. It's almost like checking your credit, but checking something that shouldn't be there, or if something did happen, there may be a way to take it off because the time has passed as the statute may require, or it may be something that was just one thing that happened and it's able to come off, and so it behooves you to check it out.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Because look, I'm just sitting there thinking what I've done in high school. And I just thought that, and you're right. It's like your credit. You think it'll just drop off. But listen, so do you call the expungement office and then they tell you what you have, or do you find out what you have first?
You need to call, and I mean, there are ways to do it. Probably the most efficient way to do it, and I don't know the price. I think it's in the neighborhood of $25 or so.
Oh, okay.
Probably the most efficient way to do it is to go to the SLED website. I think it's sled.org.
Okay.
And there is you just got to surf the site for a minute, but you can go in and you can do you can ask for, your records check, a criminal records check. And you'll pay them however you pay them online. Right. And they'll send you a link and you'll be able to look up yours, not somebody. You'll be able to look up your information, get it, and you'll know what's on your record. That's the simplest way because you'll have it right there. And then calling expungements at that point, if there's something there, and then having a conversation about what you have can be beneficial to you. So that would be my advice of the quicker way to do it, and it's effective because you can know right there. You can look at it and say, hey, here's a matter from 1994. Here's a matter from 2010. Or maybe there's nothing there. But at least it gives you something to work with. And again, if it's a not guilty, it may be something that's expungible, but you just have to fill out the paperwork and it may be free.
Wow.
But if it's not, I mean, they can tell you what the cost is going to be and how long it will take to make that happen.
Right. Barb had another question, Byron, that I wanted to ask, and it is based on the twin situation. Thanks, Barb, for your question, because this is why I even asked you this, because she said she's confused about which agency decides whether or not to charge, in this instance, the father regarding the tragedy over the death of the twin. She says she thought the sheriff said the solicitor's office made that determination. I did too, Barb. She said she'll replay the news conference.
And so, I mean, I don't want to get us into semantics, but I'll just explain again. I'm not as concerned about what was said there, because the ultimate is that there is no charge that's being filed.
Right.
The solicitor's office does not file charges.
Right. That's the bottom line.
Law enforcement files the charges.
Right.
We can review and we can advise. We do not charge.
Right. All right, Barb. There you have it. You heard it here first, or second. I don't know, third, fourth, fifth. Barb said something else that I did kind of, she says that, she said thanks first, but she said that lack of paying child support is a serious matter in the Black community. Is it a serious matter in every community, Byron?
It's a serious, and rather than just breaking it down and into whether it's Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, otherwise, it's a serious matter. Period. If you got a child and you're not paying support, that's a problem. I mean, it's as we know. I mean, I've got kids. You do. I mean, the stuff doesn't come for free. Everything costs.
Right, man.
And it's not fair for the child didn't get here by him or herself.
Right.
And so it's not fair for one person to bear the brunt of having to raise. Finances are important. There's emotional support. There's so many pieces. But if you were part of the puzzle and making and bringing that child into this world, then there is an obligation that's there. And so it's a serious matter. There are debates that are had as to whether or not it should be criminalized. And I put that in quotes, to the point to where a person goes to jail for not paying. There are debates to be had about that. I think that's a whole lot deeper in scope than we need to get into today. But the bottom line is, if the child is there and you're aware, do what you got to do.
Right.
Because and if you can't, I mean, I know there's situations where there are impasses and the relationships aren't going to work. I mean, we're grown. I mean, we know that stuff happens all the time. But maybe
nothing to do with the children.
Exactly. The finances may not be there, but there's emotional support. There are other things that can be offered, because one of the issues that I see is that when you have a lack of just kind of that whole structure, that family structure, that can lead to so many other issues that show themselves in criminality. Yeah. And so it's not always about the money. I mean, yes, money matters. Somebody said, love can't turn these lights on.
That's right.
But that being said, but love can nurture, love can grow, love can do a lot of things, and children need that. They need that from both parents. Yeah. They need that from a father and a mother. And so those are the things that can help us build stronger communities. And as you're building stronger communities, maybe that makes my office less busy with those types of matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is Attorney Byron Gipson with the Fifth Circuit Solicitors Office. This has been his monthly segment here on Coping with COVID, No Justice, No Peace. For more information, please visit their Facebook page. Also, you see the phone number, the office phone number, and also the website that we had up a little bit earlier. Please visit the website, find out more information about all the initiatives, including expungement, which is what Attorney Gipson talked about today, and their upcoming town hall meeting. Of course, we will be promoting it here. You'll see it on social media. And of course, you can get all of your updates on the Solicitor's Office website. Byron, as always, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for your advocacy and support for our community, and for doing everything you can to, just bridge the gap between your office and the city of Columbia and Kershaw and Richland counties.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you for having me. And I wake up excited to do the work every morning. So thank you. And I appreciate, your support, and we got work to do. We'll continue to do the work.
Absolutely. And I'm 300% behind you, man. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Byron Gipson, 5th Circuit Solicitors Office, no justice, no peace, right here on Coping with COVID. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please go to the Tailor Made production page on Facebook and inbox me. We would love to feature your story on Coping with COVID. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwithtreitailor@gmail.com. And we would love for you to be a proud sponsor of Coping with COVID, just like all of our sponsors, SCDHEC, In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, Palmetto Painting Services, Agape Counseling and Training Services, also Palmetto Media Connections, The Comet, Javis Tax Services, and of course, the 5th Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gipson. As always, I leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. Today is September 23rd, and today our message says this: walk with me in the freedom of forgiveness. The path we follow together is sometimes steep and slippery, and if you carry a burden or guilt on your back, you're more likely to stumble and fall. At your request, I will remove the heavy load, Jesus says, from you and bury it at the foot of the cross. When I unburden you, you are undeniably free. Stand up straight and tall in my presence so that no one can place more burdens on your back. Look into my face and feel the warmth of my love light shining upon you. It is this unconditional love that frees you from both fears and sins. Spend time basking in the light of my presence. As you come to know me more and more intimately, you grow increasingly free. That's your Jesus Calling for today, September 23rd. I'm Tre Tailor. Hey, join us tomorrow. We'll be talking with Kia Brown with the Sweet Spot. She has a new bakery, and we've tasted some of her tasty treats. And also, Aisha Driggers with the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities will give you information, tips, and advice if you are thinking about opening up your business or your company. That's coming up tomorrow on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Until the next time, I wish you peace, abundant blessings. Take care. God bless. Stay well. And please wear your mask. You still need to do that over your nose and under your chin. Thanks a lot, y'all.
Coping with COVID. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdhec.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In It Together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC, In It Together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.